So a few
how much difference?
I didn't really compare, but when I was going through it, there was little. We'll read today and figure out how different is it. Today we can.
Yeah, I think we'll stick with the online version because that's the only thing. There's an online class, so I mean, if those who have the physical books, they're fine. But otherwise, since we are sharing screen and all that, we'll follow this version.
We'll read today and figure out how different is it. Today we.
Yeah. You can point out to me separately what the differences are.
Sure. Okay. So we are starting from here today. There are Hare Krishna. Yes. There are different stages of devotional service and God realization. Strictly speaking, anyone who accepts the existence of God is situated in devotional service. To acknowledge that God is great is something, but not much. Lord Chaitanya preaching as...
Can you just pause for a minute? I mean, before it slips my mind. See, when Prabhupada says anyone who accepts the existence of God, situated in devotional service, he is not referring to pure devotional service. He's referring to devotional service. Devotional service can be of many types. It can be bhakti in the mode of goodness, bhakti in the mode of passion, bhakti in the mode of ignorance. So, when Prabhupada is saying here, he's referring to devotional service in general. So it is not that after reading this, tomorrow if you find a colleague at work or wherever who accepts the existence of God, then he can say, okay, he or she is also performing devotional service. Yeah, performing devotional service, but not pure devotional service. We are performing pure devotional service. Just wanted to make that point. Please go ahead.
Lord Chaitanya, preaching as an acharya, a great teacher, taught that we can enter into a relationship with God and actually become God's friend, parent, or lover. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna showed Arjuna his universal form because Arjuna was his very dear friend. Upon seeing Krishna as the Lord of the universes, however, Arjuna asked Krishna to forgive the familiarity of his friendship. Lord Chaitanya goes beyond this point. Through Lord Chaitanya, we can become friends with Krishna, and there will be no limitation to his friendship. We can become friends of Krishna not in awe. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, is it your fan again?
No, Mataji, there is a truck going from my...
Okay.
So sorry. We can become friends of Krishna not in awe or adoration, but in complete freedom. We can even relate to God as his father or mother. This is the philosophy not only of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but of Srimad Bhagavatam as well. There are no other scriptures in the world in which God is treated as the son of a devotee. Usually, God is seen as the Almighty Father who supplies the demands of his sons. The great devotees, however, sometimes treat God as a son in their execution of devotional service. The son demands and the father and mother supply. And in supplying Krishna, the devotee becomes like a father or mother. Instead of taking from God, we give to God. It was in this relationship that Krishna's mother, Yashoda, told the Lord, "Here, eat this or you will die. Eat nicely." In this way, Krishna, although the proprietor of everything, depends on the mercy of his devotee. This is a uniquely high level of friendship in which the devotee actually believes himself to be the father or mother of Krishna.
And when it says here where it says that in this way, Krishna, although the proprietor of everything, depends on the mercy of his devotee. It is not like some kind of an acting, It's not like acting. You need to remember this, that Krishna is not putting on an act. Actually, it's one of his potencies. He has three potencies, which the eternal potency, which manifests the spiritual world, and then you have the external potency, which manifests the material world, and then you have the marginal potency, which manifests the jivas. Okay. So these are the three potencies of the Lord. So when it says Krishna depends on the mercy of his devotee, that is a manifestation of the internal potency of the Lord. That's a feature of the internal potency of the Lord. Through the internal potency of the Lord, he exhibits dependence on the mercy of his devotee. That's what it means. So it's not an act. It's not like some, how do you say, it's not some play acting or something like that. It is factual. So one could ask that if Krishna is the proprietor of everything, what does it mean? It depends on the mercy of his devotee. That's why with our limited mind and with our conditioning, we cannot understand the contradictory things in God's nature. So although he is the proprietor of everything, he actually depends on the mercy of his devotee. Because for us, it is mutually exclusive. If you are the proprietor of everything, then you're not dependent on the mercy of anyone, right? But that's from our conditioning and our limited experience. But when it comes to God, both are factual. He's the proprietor of everything, and the fact that it depends on the mercy of his devotees both are equally factual. It is not some acting on the behalf of the Lord. This is very important to understand. This is reality. So by being accustomed to the external energy of the Lord, we don't have a comprehension of this reality. So this is a feature of the eternal potency of the Lord. I mean, Krishna exhibits that feature through the internal potency of his Lord, through his internal potency. Because I mean, the pastimes of the Mother Yashoda and all that are manifested by Yoga Maya. So through Yoga Maya, Krishna demonstrates the dependence, or demonstrates his dependence on the mercy of his devotee. Any thoughts? Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Yes, Coach.
Prabhuji, I couldn't understand this point, that how does he depend? I mean, does Yogmaya make him forget that he is Supreme Lord?
That is not it says about the residents of Vraj. The residents of Vraj, they forget that Krishna is God. Yes, that is explained. But whether Yogamaya makes Krishna forget everything, that is not explained anywhere. At least I don't recollect. If you recollect somewhere, you can let me know. But I don't recollect anywhere that Yogamaya makes Krishna forget.
As in the Leela, the Leela Shakti makes Krishna forget. For instance, Aghasur, when the Gopas are entering into Aghasur's mouth, then Krishna becomes anxious. So that time it is mentioned that the Leela Shakti makes Krishna forget that he's Supreme Lord.
Is it specifically mentioned that the Leela Shakti makes Krishna forget that he's the Supreme Lord? Or it just says that the Leela Shakti makes Krishna think like that?
Maybe. Maybe what you're saying. I'm not sure.
So either way, at least at the very minimum, we can say that Krishna exhibits that through his eternal potency. That's it. The feature of dependence is exhibited through his eternal potency. But whether it makes him forget that, I don't know. But in any case, it appears like that. But unless the acharyas have said it specifically, whereas with the case of the residents of Vrindavan, it's very specifically that Yogamaya puts them into the forgetfulness that Krishna is God. not the kind of forgetfulness that we experience. They are fully knowledgeable, the most erudite among all the scholars in the universe. They know everything actually. Nobody is more knowledgeable than the Vrajavasis. At the same time, at the same time, Yogamaya makes them forget that aspect of their existence and just makes them love God just as a friend or a master or a child or a lover. So that's it. That's what it is. So when it says the Leela Shakti, we can just examine that further. But at the very minimum, it is factual. That's what it means. It's not like he's acting. All that I was trying to say was, it's not like, how do you say, in the material world, it's not possible for someone to be a proprietor at the same time be dependent on someone else's mercy. The two things are mutually exclusive, actually. But whereas in Krishna, all contradictory things exist. These are apparently contradictory things, but they are simultaneously present in Krishna.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. You can look at it and let me know, Bhaji, about the Leela Shakti. What exactly is the phrase used there? Does it say that Krishna forgets his position, or what does it actually say?
I will just check. I'll check.
Okay. Let's go ahead.
Prabhuji, Harshita Mataji has raised her hand.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam. Prabhuji, as you said that Krishna is not acting, but at the same time, we cannot say that he has forgotten. So if he has not forgotten, then how is it not acting? Like, if he has not forgotten that he is God, so how can he actually feel dependent? I don't understand that. Can you please explain?
It's possible that is. Anyway, let's see what Radha Kishore comes up. But in any case, whatever be the answer, but the point is that not whatever be the answer. What I mean to say is that Krishna, we cannot estimate Krishna based on our experience of what this conditioned world looks like, right? So in the world of the conditioned souls, in our world, these two things are mutually exclusive. In our vocabulary itself, these two things are mutually exclusive. Being dependent and being being the proprietor, being dependent are mutually exclusive words. But in the reality of Krishna's spiritual world, then these things can simultaneously exist. Okay, I think she's brought the reference.
Yes, sorry. So it says Krishna is the assurance of safety to everyone. But when he saw his friends were already out of his hands and were lying within the belly of a great serpent, he became momentarily aggrieved. He was also struck with wonder how the external energy works so wonderfully. He then began to consider how the demon should be killed and how he should save the boys and the calves. Although there was no factual concern on Krishna's part, he was thinking like that.
Okay, so it still doesn't say he forgot, right?
Yeah, it doesn't say.
Yeah, it doesn't say he forgot. Okay, so we'll keep it like that, Harshita Mataji, that until we see Prabhupada or the Acharya saying that he actually forgets that his position as God or whatever, unless they say it, we'll take it that it can exist simultaneously. He's God after all. It's so many things he can do. Threading the elephant through the eye of a needle. So many things, just inconceivable things. Like today in the morning Bhagavatam class, the speaker was saying that if the entire flammable objects in this material world, or our world, Earth planet, not the whole material creation, but our Earth planet alone, not even other planets, if we burn all of them, the energy that it produces is equal to 4 hours of the energy that the sun produces, something like that. So imagine the amount of energy that the sun produces in 4 hours. Yeah, the sun is continuously burning for so many millions of years. So imagine the amount of energy possessed by the sun, and the sun is Sun's energy is just a fragment of Krishna's Brahma Jyoti. So when we say Krishna is unlimited, that unlimited also we are trying to conceive through our minds, which is very limited. Just like the Kupa Manduka Nyaya is very appropriate, because even if we try, we cannot understand the extent of infinity. So we can get some glimpse like this. For example, as the speaker spoke today, 4 hours of the sun. Wow, sun has been existed for so many thousands and millions of years. So I mean, if it's been burning, if it's been producing energy at that rate, imagine the amount of, I mean, it must be a huge storehouse of energy, which is only a fraction of the Brahma Jyoti. So these kind of situations give us a small glimpse into what is infinity. In fact, even if you stand on the shore of an ocean, there also suddenly you begin to, the vastness, the strength of infinity begins to hit you. It's like when you go to a beach and stand in front of the beach, then you begin to, that sense of infinity hits you. So it's not, yes. So for God to simultaneously do both, being the proprietor and also being dependent on someone else's mercy, I mean, not someone else, being the mercy of his pure devotees, is possible. It's possible.
So, like in the pastime with Mother Yashoda, it is said that Krishna was really afraid of her. So we just take it at it is inconceivable. Although Krishna remembers that he is God, still he is actually afraid of Mother Yashoda.
Let's see, there is a difference between. Okay, you're now taking it too technically, in the sense that, for example, is Krishna actually thinking while running that he's God? Is he thinking like that? It doesn't say there, right? The point is that he is absorbed in the activity. That's all. Where is he? So it is not that Krishna is simultaneously thinking I'm God and simultaneously is running. It's not explained like that. That's not how the Acharya has explained the pastime, right? He's afraid. That's it.
So, but he has not forgotten. Like he knows he is not actively thinking, but he knows that he is God.
What does it mean? He knows. Even when you say he knows, you're using your experience, right, of knowing. When we know, our heart is not fully into it, correct or not? If we know, if we use our concept of knowing, then we will not be afraid like how Krishna was afraid, right? Can we be afraid like how Krishna was afraid if we know? No. So there's no point in applying our sense of knowing to understand the pastime of the Lord, right? So because from our sense of knowing, we will not be afraid, but yet Krishna is afraid. Krishna is afraid. That itself shows that he's different. His way of knowing is different from our way of knowing.
So it's just inconceivable.
Yeah, because both of them are simultaneously true, which cannot be for any human being, which cannot be in any human being.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Yes, thank you, Professor.
Okay.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
Jyoti Mataji also has her hand.
Sure.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Sir, in one Bhagavatam, like one Bhagavatam class, you are told that Krishna is creating like cosmos with the energy of the penance. Like he's creating cosmos with the energy of the penance. I was not able to understand it fully.
Oh, actually, that was, if you look at the Bhagavatam and if you look at that word to word, I mean, or rather Prabhupada's purport, Prabhupada calls penance as the energy of devotional service.
Okay.
Wait, can you open the, what is it, our Nandapati Mataji, or who shared the screen? I'll tell you the verse number, you just open it and it will show up there.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I'll tell you the verse number.
Is it Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Just give me a second. 2924. I think it's either 2924 or 23 or 25, somewhere it'll just open 2924. Here it is, 24. Yeah, 24. It is 24. Or maybe the explanation comes in the earlier. Let me just check it. Okay. Okay, it says energy of penance. A previous verse was 23. Just go to 23. 2923. Yeah. Go to word by word, word by word. Okay, well, let's go to the purport. Yeah. So, such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are not different. The translation, okay? And Prabhupada begins the purport by saying, the penance by which one can understand, one can see the personality of God face to face is understood as devotional service to the Lord. And nothing else, because only by discharging devotional service in transcendental love can one approach the Lord. Such penance is the internal potency of the Lord and is not different from it. Is that clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
That what I understood is like by the penance only, that is only equal to like pure devotional service, and by that only, that is one of the potency of Krishna.
Yeah, that is the internal potency of the Lord. Such penance is the internal potency. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. We'll continue. There's one more hand, or is it Steve?
No, Jyoti Mataji. Yeah, no, it's okay. However, Lord Chaitanya's greatest gift was his teaching that Krishna can be treated as one's lover. In this relationship, the Lord becomes so much attached to his devotee that he expresses his inability to reciprocate. Krishna was so obliged to the gopis, the cowherd girls of Vrindavan, that he felt unable to return their love. I cannot repay your love, he told them. I have no more assets to give. Devotional service on this highest, most excellent platform of lover and beloved, which has never been given by any previous incarnation or Acharya, was given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj, quoting Srila Rupa Goswami, writes in the fourth verse of his book, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna in a yellow complexion and he is Sachinananda. Shachinandan, the son of Mother Shachi. He is the most charitable personality because he came to deliver Krishna Prem, unalloyed love for Krishna to everyone. May you always keep him in your hearts. It will be easy to understand Krishna through him.
Ali, this is the translation of, this is a very simple translation of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. It's a famous verse. Anarpita Charam Chirat Karunayamatirana Kalau Samarpritam Unnata Ujjvala Rasa Subhaktim Shriya Hari Purata Uduti Kadapa Sandipita Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuratuva Sachinandanaha. Our acharyas have explained this in very beautiful ways, Prabhupada also. So it says that may you keep Lord Sachi, he's Sachinandana, that's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Sachi, always in the core of your hearts, and there, innermost chambers of your heart. So, Sada Hridaya Kandare, Smuratuva Sachinanda. So, it is explained by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur and our Acharyas, Sri Prabhupada, that the word Hari could also refer to a lion. So when a lion is in a cave and a lion roars in a cave, then all the animals are terrified. They run away. So here, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is called Kaviraj. He's a poet. So he's saying that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like a lion. So if you have Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the lion in your hearts, he will drive away the elephantine voices of Kali Yuga. I mean, like when a lion roars, even the elephants get frightened. So although Kali Yuga is very huge in terms of its faults, but if we can have Lord Chaitanya, who's like a lion situated in our hearts, when he roars, even the elephantine voices, the voices which are as big as elephants, they also get terrified. So that's a poetic way of how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has composed this verse. He is such most charitable personality because he can deliver Krishna Prema. Unnata Ujjvala Rasa. Unnata, the highest Ujjvala, the most unalloyed love for Krishna. We always keep him in his hearts. It will be easy to understand Krishna through him because the voices of Kali Yuga have no chance to stand in your hearts when Lord Chaitanya is there in your hearts. That's the meaning. Which Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is trying to tell us. Okay, please go ahead.
We have often heard the phrase love of Godhead. How far this love of Godhead can actually be developed can be learned from the Vaishnava philosophy. Theoretical knowledge of love of God can be found in many places and in many scriptures, but what that love of Godhead actually is and how it is developed can be found in the Vaishnava literatures. It is the unique and highest development of love of God that is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even in this material world, we can have a little sense of love. How is this possible? It is due to the presence of our original love of God. Whatever we find within our experience, within this conditioned life, is situated in the Supreme Lord, who is the ultimate source of everything. In our original relationship with the Supreme Lord, there is real love, and that love is reflected pervertedly through material conditions. Our real love is continuous and unending, but because that love is reflected pervertedly in this material world, it lacks continuity and is inebriating. If we want real transcendental love, we have to transfer our love to the supreme lovable object, Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. In the material consciousness, we are trying to love that which is not at all lovable. We give our love to cats and dogs, running the risk that at the time of death, we may think of them and consequently take birth in a family of cats or dogs. Our consciousness at the time of death determines our next life. That is one reason why the Vedic scriptures stress the chastity of women. If a woman is very much attached to her husband, at the time of death, she will think of him, and in the next life, she will be promoted to a man's body. Generally, a man's life is better than a woman's because a man usually has better facilities for understanding these spiritual signs. But Krishna consciousness is so nice that it makes no distinction between man and woman. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.32, Lord Krishna says, anyone who takes shelter of me, whether a woman, Shudra, Vaishya, or someone of low birth, is sure to achieve my association. That is Krishna's guarantee.
There are a lot of women in this class. Anybody disturbed by reading this? uncomfortable, disturbed, confused, want to say something, ask something?
Prabhuji, at many places, Srila Prabhupada refers to this, even in chapter 1 in Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
Yeah. So Prabhuji, for newcomers especially, it becomes very difficult to make them understand. I started a new class in the temple and I did chapter 1 with them recently. I did that. And they all newcomers. So then it becomes very difficult to deal with it.
See, generally, people in general, okay, as it's mentioned here, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, these teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are unique. They are not unique in the sense that, or even pure devotional service, the teachings are very rare. This is not commonly known or understood. So, what is commonly known and understood are the process of gradual attainment of liberation or spiritual perfection. And in every process of gradual attainment of liberation or other than pure devotional service, in every other process, a man's position is more advantageous. So that is what is being brought out in general, because that is what is commonly understood, that is what is commonly known. Why is that so? Because in every other than pure devotional service, every other system of spiritual advancement, the most important factor is detachment. If you are not detached, you cannot progress. It is very simple. One's progress is determined by one's detachment. So, the tendency for detachment, okay, you could say men are also attached, that's a fact. But in general, like for example, if you take a 100 meters race, okay, the best male athlete is always faster than the best female athlete. The best female athlete may beat the last male athlete. That's okay. But if you take the first and the first, if you compare equal categories, equal means the equal means the top categories here. Number one female runner, number one male runner. Always the male runner is faster than the female runner. Similarly, certain other sports, like for example, lawn tennis, the men play 5 sets, women play 3 sets because of certain physical exhaustion parameters. So, same thing applies in spiritual life as it was understood all these years, because spiritual life was dependent on detachment from this material world and engagement with the material world. It is generally difficult for a woman not to have any relationship, not to do any work, to just sit whole day and meditate. So that sense of detachment was very difficult. And even Shankaracharya said that unless you become a sannyasi, you cannot get moksha. So this is the general path for all spiritual progress, which is dependent on detachment. But here, if you notice, Prabhupada, after saying, oh, I mean, it's advantageous to be in a man's body and all that, the very next sentence he says, but in Krishna consciousness, we make no distinction between man or woman, because Krishna consciousness is not dependent on detachment. Rather, detachment is dependent on Krishna consciousness. And Krishna consciousness can be practiced by anyone. And Prabhupada quotes Krishna also there. Krishna consciousness can be practiced by anyone. And when one practices Krishna consciousness, one naturally develops the detachment that is necessary to progress. Now, everybody need not be detached like a sannyasi in the process of bhakti. Detached to the extent of performing one's devotional service. That's all. That is the meaning of detachment in pure devotional service. One should be detached to the extent of as it says, continuous and endless. So, to the extent of keeping devotional service continuous and endless, to that extent, one should be detached, which automatically comes, whether it's a man or a woman, by the process of bhakti. So, when you go to a school, it is very important for us for everyone to know. For example, first of all, they'll teach what is ABCD, and then gradually they will explain the highest concepts and things like that. So it is natural that in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, that's why it's the first chapter, right? So in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, when the preliminaries are discussed, it is the preliminaries. And as we progress, you get to know more and more the details and the nuances, and all the concepts become more and more unraveled. I mean, not, yeah, you could say yes. It becomes more and more known. So just by hearing that, they do not feel discouraged, because that is the standard understanding. But Bhakti is presenting a far deeper understanding than just the preliminaries. Kunti Devi is a fine example of that. She is a great devotee of the Lord, and in her prayers, the kind of prayers that she writes, very beautiful prayers. There are these prayers are sung by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a sannyasi, sung by Sukadeva Goswami, who is a sannyasi, sung by so many great celibate personalities who are sannyasis. So, but she's a woman. But because it is the characteristic of her bhakti, her glory, her greatness, so that even great sannyasis also recite their glory. So in the process of Krishna consciousness, there is no distinction between sannyasi, grihastha, and all. Whoever is advanced in Krishna consciousness, that is the real thing. And in those purports, Prabhupada explains that generally it is considered that men have an advantage in spiritual practice. However, when it comes to the practice of bhakti, women have an advantage, he says. So why women have an advantage? Because he says they can offer their respects to the Lord unreservedly. Whereas men have that Purusha Bhava, I am the Lord, I am the controller. So that is lesser in a woman than in a man. So because that's lesser in a woman, therefore she's able to surrender unto the Lord more easily than a man. Therefore, it is said that in the process of bhakti, the women have a greater advantage than men. So you have to explain it like that there are preliminaries. They don't have to come to a conclusion based on preliminaries. They have to wait. And so the different concepts are being explained. And finally, it's not the conclusion, right? So they have to learn. They have to be patient to learn. Learning means you need to have patience. And when we learn, there are many things which challenge our intellect, that challenge our previous understandings of things. That is the very nature. Previously, universities were meant to do that. Challenge one's understanding of things. So far, they will challenge. But today's, of course, is a different thing of a university. But originally, the universities, even 100 years ago or 50 years ago, it was like that. Universities are a place of learning. And learning, by definition, means our concepts and prejudices and our understandings will get challenged. If our understanding does not get challenged, then the learning is very doubtful, unless one has already learned somewhere in the past. Generally, nobody has learned like that in the past. So our conditioning, our limit, our understanding, our knowledge, all these things gets challenged. But the thing is that one should go with it and see what is the conclusion. Okay, these are all okay. The moment one finds something challenging, one cannot immediately dismiss it. That is not acceptable in any process of learning. One has to learn the whole thing and then decide whether the whole thing as a whole makes sense or not. Then one should be able to see how the pieces fit together. One cannot, that's why they say half learning is dangerous, right? One cannot just learn a few things and then conclude. Like I remember when I was in high school, I started learning astrology. Later, I gave it up because it's not that that time I remember our teacher used to say, you study these things. The moment you study these things, it's not immediately you apply the rules and that's it. No, you need to study fully. Then you understand what is the significance of each rule, how does it fit in, what proportion it fits in. All these things are very important. How rules fit, how concepts fit, to what proportion it fits where. So that's the very process of learning. So I'm sure that you have to tell them that you be patient, be with me through the course, and this is not the conclusion. That you can say, this is not the conclusion. You can always present the conclusion in the beginning if you want. Just like Prabhupada in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, he presents the conclusion actually. You notice. That's what he does in the introduction. He directly presents the conclusion. Okay, there are the 5 rasas, and 7 indirect rasas. The goal of life is to develop a relationship with the Lord, one of the 5 rasas. Direct conclusions he presents in the beginning. And then the rest of the Bhagavad Gita, he defends and he supports those conclusions. He explains those conclusions. So that's one way of teaching also.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Okay. Anyone else? Looks like I think all your questions are answered in that, or at least it seems so. But it's not something which will go away. It'll keep coming back every now and then. Like how I remember in the 90s when I was attending Navadip Mandal Parikrama. I don't recollect who the sannyasis were, but I remember one sannyasi saying to the other sannyasi, Maharaj, this parikrama is so ecstatic. He said, there is no place for Maya. And the other Maharaj, he laughed and he said, don't worry, Maharaj, it is going to come back. So like that. So these things, despite what you may have heard, may come back again. So keep hearing again, ask again, clarify again, and then go on with life.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes? Tirukumara,
Prabhuji,
you have an objection to whatever I spoke?
no, Prabhuji. Actually, even, of course, like before coming to Krishna consciousness, we're all like, little liberal. Women should also be given, rights, all those things. Why is there gap in pay and all those things? I mean, so many aspects are there, but still.
Pardon?
So, no, like so many aspects are there. Like, women don't get equal pay. They don't get equal respect with respect to office politics, promotions, and all. They're not there on the top level. So earlier, we also used to think like this. But then once, what changed my thought was that there was one memoir of Prabhupada which I read, like a Mataji. I mean, it's something I read. I'm not sure who this Mataji is, a disciple. She was with Prabhupada in a car with two other disciples of Prabhupada, and they were all discussing something about women, how the same thing that we are discussing right now. And this Mataji was just I mean, I wish I could recollect. I also tried looking for this resource again, but I couldn't find it. I'll try again. But so yeah, she was she wasn't like really reacting too much. She just said, okay, this is what it is, and that's it. And then Prabhupada said, and then she was asking Prabhupada something, or Prabhupada said something. But in the end, what Prabhupada said was that if you think you're a woman, then you're less intelligent. So that's what stuck with me.
Yeah. Also, I see you brought up the thing about the wage gap and all that. Those are actually purely mundane subjects in which, at the same time, I mean, what is generally known and what is portrayed is different than reality. Like, of course, that's a different topic altogether. Where there is a psychologist, Jordan Peterson, who has analyzed it. A lot of it is a myth, actually. This wage gap between men and women. That's actually, most of it is a myth. It's not that it does not exist at all, but most of it is a myth. And that's been nicely explained by psychologist Jordan Peterson. But apart from that, your point about yes, where we are not supposed to identify either as a man, woman, black, white, Indian, African, man, woman, whatever. So the more we identify with those categories, the more we get entrapped by those categories. So rather than that, there's a difference between identification and knowledge. Knowledge means knowing things as they are. Identification means trying to know things as you want them to be. You understood? Okay, let me explain this again. Knowledge means trying to know things as they are. Okay. Identification means trying to know things as you want them to be. Like, you cannot expect that that men and women are identical in all manners. They're not. They're not identical in all manners. So, for example, what do you say? As I gave the example of the 100-meter sprint, the man who is the top, who gets the who tops that 100-meter sprint is always better than the woman who always beats the woman who tops the 100-meter woman sprint. That's the nature of reality. So there is something called acceptance of reality. So in Scandinavia, where they tried this experiment, what is called giving men and women equal opportunity. Okay. So this is called equality of opportunity. Okay. Now there's something called equality of outcome. There's two different things: equality of opportunity and equality of outcome. Equality of opportunity is the right thing, but equality of outcome is impossible. It's impossible. In the country where they gave the maximum, where they have the maximum freedom, okay, which is where everybody is free to choose whatever they want to choose, the outcome in that country is greater than every other country. So there's a gap in the outcome. What does it mean, gap in the outcome? It means that in those countries, most women they take up the jobs of being nurses or all these kind of artistic kind of things. I mean, this caring and nurturing and artistic kind of things. Given a choice, that's where they're heading. Whereas the men are taking up engineering and things there. This is a country where people are being given equal opportunities. Okay, so we should always remember that men and women are different. Given equal opportunities, men will choose in one way in general, women will choose another way. To expect that men and women are the same is a myth. And a lot of the problem happens when people try to accomplish equality of outcomes. Equality of outcomes cannot happen. It's a myth. Just a myth, because people have different natures. The maximum that can be done is equality of opportunities, which is exactly what Krishna consciousness provides: equality of opportunities to grow in Krishna consciousness.
Roji, so with respect to this point,
Okay.
I understand how equality of outcome is something that we cannot expect. I understand that point, but my thing is that, I mean, equality of opportunity. Opportunity is something that comes to us by God's grace or karma, or So,
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible to have equality of opportunity.
Why? See,
I
okay,
mean,
let me
like,
put it like this.
let's
Okay,
say,
let's take bhakti for example. Okay, when I say opportunity, opportunity does not mean what you want. Opportunity means opportunity to perform bhakti. That's what I mean. Okay, so take for example, there are so many women in this class. They cannot travel like you. They cannot do things like, I mean, what their husbands would have the freedom to do. They don't have that kind of a freedom, right? So you could say they don't have the opportunity to do what their husbands are doing in one sense, okay, technically speaking. But the fact remains that, for example, here, right now, this 1 hour class, they all have the opportunity, right? So by taking advantage of that opportunity, what is the benefit that they gain? The benefit that they gain is dependent on the opportunity that they use to perform devotional service. That's all. And devotional service is not just only about hearing the Bhagavatam class or this class, teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But it's also about performing one's work with the idea that I'm trying to do this to please Krishna. That is called, so everybody has an opportunity, whether man or woman, everybody has an opportunity, right? It may be different, that's all, but the opportunity exists. How can we say the opportunity does not exist? What opportunity we may desire may not exist. But in devotional service, opportunities are absolute. It doesn't matter what we particularly desire, but the opportunity is absolute. That's what I'm trying to say. Like even men, they may also have so many different types of desires. I want to go on Brajamandal Parikrama. I want to go down the Mandal Parikrama. I want to go and see 26 Second Avenue. They may have a desire, but it may not happen. So what? They may not have the opportunity to do it. So what? Everybody has 24 hours. Everybody has an opportunity to perform bhakti, including women, including women who do not have devotee husbands. Everybody has an opportunity 24 hours. It's a question of how we align our consciousness. That's all. This is the very important element of Krishna consciousness, that nobody is bereft of the opportunity to perform devotional service 24 hours.
Yes, Prabhuji, this I understand. But it's just, I mean, everyone has the opportunity, but it's not equal, right? Everyone has the opportunity.
It's not equal? Why do you say it is not equal? I may go and distribute books after this class, okay? And
Okay.
Mataji may just go and have to cook for her husband. How do you say these are not the same?
Right. Okay.
How do you say these are not the same? They are the same, actually. This is the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that devotional service is absolute. It is a question of one's attitude. That's why Prabhupada repeatedly says, especially he begins the nectar of introduction by saying this: advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. So if one thinks it is not a good opportunity, that is where the problem is. You understood, right?
Yes,
This is
Prabhuji.
identification with what you want. It's not identification with reality. It's not understanding of reality. It is identification with what you want.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. I mean, I think I still need some time to maybe hear the
Whatever
recording.
varieties are needed for us to perform devotional service, we should be confident that Krishna will provide. Let him provide it at his own time, at his own will. Let me just go on performing devotional service. I'm not bereft of the opportunity to perform devotional service. Once one gets this knowledge of bhakti, one gets the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then one is not bereft of the opportunity. One has the opportunity all the time. Varieties, yes, that Krishna decides. But opportunity, everybody has an equal opportunity. Equal opportunity for what? To perform bhakti. I'm not talking about varieties of bhakti. How does it matter? Because bhakti is absolute.
Yes, Prabhuji. Problem was with my misidentification. I thought, okay, suppose I'm not able to stay in Dham right now, or I was not able to be with Guru Maharaj, during those days, or be travel around with him, or opportunity to hear from him a lot. So I mean, I was thinking along these lines, but then whatever we get, we get the opportunity to render devotional service.
Yeah, this is a very important thing that you need to understand, that 24 hours, we're not bereft of the opportunity to perform devotional service. Even when we are in an unfavorable situation. Still, because Krishna consciousness depended on the attitude of the follower. So even if we are in an unfavorable circumstance, one can still be performing bhakti because of one's attitude. So in that sense, everybody has an equal opportunity. Varieties, let Krishna decide. Let him provide the opportunities whenever he wants at his own sweet will. The greatest thing is his provider is the opportunity to perform bhakti uninterruptedly. what is seemingly an interruption can also be turned into bhakti. The interruption can happen only by our free will. It cannot happen by external methods or external circumstances.
Yes, Prabhuji. So what I wanted was equality of outcome, which is not, which, like I said, I was just contradicting myself. Yes, Prabhuji. Understood. Thank you for clarifying.
When I say equality of outcome there, I'm talking about, see, first of all, I mean, equality of outcome there, I'm talking about equality of material outcomes. Okay. When it comes to opportunities, when I talked about now, then I'm talking spiritual opportunities. Outcome is also everybody can attain love of God, right? So only in Krishna consciousness, you can have both equality of opportunity and outcome, depending on how you define the opportunity and outcome. Okay.
Yes,
if you
Prabhuji.
define the opportunity in terms of material thing, then even the outcome also you have to look at it in those terms of, correct?
Correct.
But if you define the opportunity in terms of spiritual opportunity, outcome also you define in terms of spiritual outcomes.
So in spirituality, both are possible, but in the material sense, I feel both are impossible.
In the material world, only equality of opportunity is possible. Equality of outcome is not possible. Okay. In spiritual life, both equality of opportunity and equality of outcomes are possible, provided we understand what the equality of opportunity means. It means everybody's engagement in Krishna consciousness is absolute. That's what I'm trying to say. That sense is an equal opportunity. And
Yes,
so
Prabhuji.
everybody can attain love of God also. But if you look at it in terms of material designations, I want to do this, I don't have this opportunity, I don't have that opportunity, all those kind of things, then obviously you're looking at it from the mundane perspective. Then obviously, how can you have equality of outcome also? You cannot. Because your outcomes also you're judging in terms of material circumstances. That devotee is able to travel and preach, I'm not able to travel and preach. Right? So I may be having the same opportunity, but people are not calling me. What do? I have the money to travel, correct? Or I have the money to do something. But some temple is not inviting me to come and give a talk, but some other devotees getting invited. Correct? So because you're measuring your opportunity by, I'm just giving a simple example. You're measuring an opportunity by whether you can do whatever you want to do. Yeah, you can try to do whatever you want to do, but still the outcome is not there, right? The outcome may vary.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So instead of that, if you focus on the equality of opportunity in terms of everybody's engagement is absolute, then everyone's result is also absolute.
Yes, Prabhuji. Back home, back to God.
I don't know if whatever I explained so far is too distinct to get it. But
no, Prabhuji, I understood most of it. I'm not confident enough to say that I understood completely.
okay.
But yes, Prabhuji, I think I have to realize this. Then it might happen. Now it seems like knowledge. Haven't realized it yet. Maybe then I'll understand. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
When it came to equal opportunity, some people I have seen, like in the material world, some people are there who come to Krishna consciousness, like come to know of Krishna consciousness very easily. But some people come to know of Krishna consciousness after suffering various hardships and struggles in life. And some even like come to know of Krishna consciousness in their old age. So how can we explain this, like the introduction to Krishna consciousness in the various stages of life and in the various struggles of life? Like, how should we explain this, or how should we think of this thing?
That means the person has not been see, Prabhupada explains that if one wants to attain Krishna, Krishna immediately makes arrangements. So if somebody is eager in their younger days, Krishna will make arrangement. Whenever you are looking, whenever you see towards Krishna, Krishna sees towards you. Right? But other times also, people may get out of causeless mercy. They're just passing by a road. Harinam Sankirtan is going on. That's called causeless mercy. So then they have to just take it. Otherwise, they have to desire on their own. And when they desire, Krishna will make arrangement. So it has to be either of the two.
But Prabhuji, like I have seen like some of my friends, they are spiritual seekers. Like from years, they have been seeking like what is the essence of spirituality, and they are into seeking, like they don't know of Krishna, but they are seeking spirituality from years. Seeking, they come to know of Krishna consciousness. But some people, they just like pass by and just get into it. So I was like, one people has to face so much of hardships, and another is like it's a coincidence, so like causeless mercy. So like, is it a karma, or is it the past birth deeds or something?
Okay, you said gave the example of some people are spiritually seeking, right? Spiritual seeking is not a very big thing.
Yeah.
Spiritual seeking means what is one trying to speak? What is it? Just like people are pursuing material sense gratification, people may pursue liberation also. According to our acharyas, both seeking for liberation and seeking material enjoyment, both of them are selfish. The real point of spiritual seeking becomes when you become unselfish. Whatever is the reality, whatever I'm supposed to do, let me do. That is called spiritual seeking. Everything else is, what do you call it? Is predominant is tinged by one selfish desire. Just like karmis, they're trying to enjoy material life, and the spiritualists, they're trying to enjoy liberation. That's all. Both of them are selfishly motivated. So real spiritual, when you say spiritual seekers, it means when people are not selfishly motivated. That is the very definition of spiritual seeking. Otherwise, okay, you could say technically it belongs to spiritual seeking, but so what? I mean, they may be seeking something selfish. Either just like we all know that material enjoyment is selfish. They're seeking sense gratification. Similarly, seeking liberation is they say to seek enjoyment of liberation. That is also selfish. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said the mukti and bhukti are two witches, rakshasi. They're like that. Both of them have to be discarded. So spiritual seeking means when one is seeking something independent, devoid of selfishness. So that explains why they don't come. Because that is not a qualification. That is not a qualification to attain bhakti. If you wants to attain bhakti, then one has to seek unselfishly. Then Krishna responds. Or responds by how? By sending a pure devotee. So, or the only other thing is causeless mercy. You're just walking somewhere in the street, and then somehow you encounter some Harinam. That's it. It opens up your good fortune or you get a book.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I have not thought of this aspect that the spiritual seeking is like mukti seeking can also be selfish. This is very interesting and very nice point.
That's how our acharyas have explained, actually. Okay, I think that we already exceeded the time. We're already 5:15 as far as the reading is concerned. So some devotees have had to leave. So if there are no further questions, we can stop here, or questions you can continue because technically we have till 5:30. Ari, the reason that I wanted to open up for questions right in the beginning is Because teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has to be understood in all its aspects, in all its gravity, in all its depth. So this is a very important topic in teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that bhakti is available for everyone without discrimination. What it actually means as we understood properly. It is not just some statement of, it's not a theoretical statement. It's a statement of fact.
Prabhuji, that statement that you made about attitude was that if one thinks it's not a good opportunity to serve, that is a wrong attitude?
Yeah. Yes. One takes every opportunity, everything that Krishna is providing, Krishna is placing me in the situation so that he wants to see how I do in the situation. That is the best thing that could have happened to me at this point in time. There's nothing better than this which could have happened. That's called acceptance. And when one accepts, then one progresses very quickly. Our mind may say so many things could have been better. If it was like this, I could have done better. If it was like that, I could have done better. If the current had not broken down, current had not gone off, and the AC had not broken down, I could have chanted my rounds better. So many things our minds can come up with. But bhakti is not dependent on any of this. Whatever it is what Krishna has provided us with. So let us try to show our love for Krishna by accepting whatever he has provided us, whatever situation he has provided us with.
And Prabhuji, if like in such situation, one feels that I'm not able to do devotional service or more devotional service, how do we, I mean,
that's a good thought, is a good mood. So we pray to Krishna. I'm getting overwhelmed by these circumstances. Please help me. I know that this is the best for me that you have placed me in, but I'm getting overwhelmed. I'm not focusing on bhakti. I know you have done everything to help me progress in bhakti, but I'm so contaminated that I'm not utilizing it to progress in bhakti. Please help me. Crying to Krishna, asking Krishna's help is permitted in any time, at any time, in any condition, any circumstance of life. That we are dependent on Krishna. Actually. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, your name is Rishikesha, master of the senses. I have no ability to control the senses on my own. You're Rishikesha. It's your senses. Because the body doesn't belong to us also, actually. So please control these senses. Please help me to control, whatever. Please control these senses. You're the master of the senses. There is not an abdication of responsibility. This is a statement of dependence on Krishna. Means that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, basically it means that we have to put in our whole endeavor. But we should remember that this is all going to fail if Krishna's mercy is not there. Therefore, we say, Krishna, your Rishikesha master senses, please help me control these senses. It is a shifting of responsibility. It is a statement of expressing our vulnerability. Okay. So if there are no further questions, then we can conclude here and we'll resume again next week. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhuvyavcha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha. So Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhaktavranda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanand.
thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Actually.